We're going to now take a look how to calculate the area of a triangle. You have to understand, first of all, that a triangle is just a example of 1/2 of a square, 1/2 of a rectangle, or a 1/2 of a parallelogram, otherwise known as a rhombus. Just to show you real quick, I did a little depiction of that. Here's a rectangle with cut in half. Obviously you can see that it is half of it becomes a triangle. Now on here we have to notice that this little indicator here is for a right angle. This just tells you that this line here is perpendicular and that it's perfectly straight at 90 degrees. So this is something you're always looking for when you're calculating the area of a triangle, because this will indicate to you the height, and right next to it will be the base. So don't get confused with other measurements that are outside of this area, because that's not going to give you the area of what you're looking for. Okay, because a triangle is half of the area of a rectangle, we always have to multiply by 1/2 whatever we would get for our base and height. So in this case we have a 4.2 centimeter height and a 6.5 centimeter base. Okay, now I circled these because oftentimes you get confused because you have these two things, these two measurements here that don't necessarily give you any help in getting the area, and often are confused as ways to get the answer. Do not get confused. This is what you need to look for. What you'll find is this bottom area here, and then the height right there. So always remember that. The calculation is 1/2 times the base times the height. Now this is in brackets. You have to do the brackets first, and we'll talk about that later in another lesson called BEDMAS or PEDMAS, but this is what you need to understand. Do the calculation inside the brackets. Okay, so you're going to calculate 6.5 times the height of 4.2 centimeters. And quickly, to change this half into a decimal, it's just 0.5. We know that already from what we've calculated with our decimals. Okay, so to do this calculation, I just left it over here, and it got a little messy, so I needed to correct that. 6.5 centimeters is our base, and 4.2 centimeters is our height. We just plug in our numbers to where those little letters are. Very simply done. Okay, so once you have calculated 6.5 centimeters times 4.2 centimeters, you'll get 27 and 30 hundredths centimeters for your answer. That would be the area for a rectangle, not a triangle. So we need to multiply it times 0.5. 0.5 would then give you 13 and 650 thousandths centimeters squared, because again we multiplied here. We have to understand it's squared. Can't hardly see that, but it's squared. That would be your answer right there for your triangle. So you would circle it, say I got the right answer. Okay, so this is the area, the surface area inside the triangle. You're going to take it one step further when you start working with a parallelogram, otherwise known as a rhombus, and that will be the next lesson.